Hello and welcome to another episode of eScoot Talks. So this is going to be a quick one and completely unplanned. So as of today, 1st of October, all electric scooters are actually illegal in Ireland by National Transport Authority. And this is sad and funny at the same time. So the reason for a ban is because the electric scooters were a reason for fires on public transport in Madrid and Barcelona, and similar restrictions are already in place in Berlin, Barcelona, and UK. Now, let me be clear. Okay, electric scooter catching a fire in the public transport is not funny at all. Okay, the funny part here is that we were waiting for 6 years to get scooters regulated in Ireland. Okay, scooters came here in 2018. There were lots of talks about it, but it took 6 years to 2024 for them to be regulated. Now, so far as I know, we didn't had even one case of electric scooter catching fire on public transport in Ireland, but yeah, this was brought straight away. Now, if we got a law legalization immediately in 2018, I would say, yeah, listen, it's just brilliant. The government is reacting fast, and that's great. But just a couple of months ago, we got legalization, and the way I see it, I might be wrong, is that actually some people actually don't want electric scooters in Ireland, because first we got legalization in May that was heavily restricted, honestly heavily restricted, and some of the restrictions I absolutely can't understand because they're in place about some transport options, but they're not in place for other transport options. It's like, double policy. Sorry. So we got electric scooters with 25 kilo weight restriction, and we got 20 kilometer per hour speed restriction, and we got dual braking, required dual braking, and on top of that we got a plate, manufacturer plate with specs. Those were four crucial things to actually make majority of the scooters that are already on the road actually illegal, because majority of the companies are just going to put a sticker, they're not going to bring a plate. Okay, even if they have a plate, in most cases it's going to be small light scooter that can brake really well with just one brake, because on top of that there's regenerative braking. And then on top of that, you restrict it to 20 kilometers per hour, and like, okay, you lower speed so it can stop faster, and then you reduce weight to only 25 kilos and make all scooters that are just maybe 30 kilos also illegal. So because of that, we have a free now actually launched, not in Dublin, outside of Dublin somewhere they launched shared scooters, but no other major sharing company didn't even launch e-scooters in Dublin or in Ireland, because shared scooters, they have to have a strong frame. Okay, that's first of all, they have to be strong and sturdy. And then on top of that, in order for them to be profitable, they have to have a big battery. And you're not going to get a strong frame and a big battery and all that in less than 25 kilos. Most of those scooters are unfortunately over 25 kilos. So, and now we're getting this, and it looks like, okay, so what legalization didn't kill, well, this might kill. So it's kind of, the way I see it is like, if you have an e-scooter business in Ireland, and if you still didn't sell it or shut it down, I think now is the time, because probably it's not going to last for too long. But as I said, I might be completely wrong. Now, regarding those speed restrictions, okay, and especially weight restrictions, okay, listen, if speed restriction is a solution, why we don't have a speed restriction across all vehicles on the road, cars, lorries, and everything else? Because, as I said, you can't tell me that a 25 kilo scooter, 30 kilo scooter traveling at 25 kilometers per hour with a 70, 80 kilo rider, let's say in total 100 kilos, is more dangerous than a lorry going 100 kilometers or 60 kilometers per hour in a city. You know, I don't know how many tons. You can't tell me that. But okay, listen, let's leave that aside. Okay, so what are now solutions? Unfortunately, not too much, because using a scooter for the first or last mile, it's not going to work anymore. So the only option is actually to use a scooter only if you can commute with that scooter all the way from point A to point B and back. And with the, you know, climate change and trying to save a planet and everything, it just makes no sense. All this just makes no sense. Much better option would be to regulate the market so that only some scooters are actually allowed to be sold in country, only safe scooters with a smart BMS and things like that. Because we have so many brands that don't have any history of catching fire, and like with those scooters you are pretty safe. But it is what it is. So I went a little bit to check what are the options, what are the alternatives. And one of the guys actually in a community group, he asked about, you know, scooters that can fall down or rucksacks so that you can kind of fit it in a rucksack and sneak it into a public transport. And that actually made me come across this. So you can get this at Curry's and you can really fold it down. Now, what's the downside of this? The downside is that you have so many folding mechanisms. You have 3 folding mechanisms now instead of 1. If any of them fail, you'll end up in hospital. So no, this is just like, you know, a little bit for fun, but I would never recommend you getting anything like that. Another option are Segway Drifts. They look cool, but with those small wheels on these roads, with so many potholes, you'll be flying like a superhero more than you're going to be actually riding them. So no, unfortunately not an option. But okay, what are the options now? We're going to go kind of from, let's say, maybe a lower budget, even that actually this first option, Xiaomi, is not going to be low budget, but that would be kind of my first option because of reliability and parts availability. Okay, for Xiaomi scooters, in most cases, any Xiaomi Pro versions always have a bigger battery and longer range. For those, it's going to be super hard to source parts, even if something breaks. I would actually probably even rather go for Xiaomi electric scooter 4 Pro Max or Plus, because they support fast charging as well. Then another option, and this is actually my most used scooter, is Navi V50, and the main reason behind it is folding mechanism. Like, this folding is absolutely brilliant. I love it. I live in a small studio, and like wherever I go, I can just put it behind the bed, somewhere in a corner, and it's not going to be in anyone's way, especially with the handlebars, because I had a situation back in 2018 where I went to a pub with my scooter, and sadly waitress, she tripped over my scooter and fell. Luckily nothing happened, but still today I really feel bad about that. So this is why I absolutely love this scooter. That's the best folding system that I've seen in my life. I would usually, like as I said, for most of my journeys I'm actually using my Navi V50. I did a range test and I got over 33 kilometers on a single charge, and that was actually a real journey from Phibsborough to Blanchardstown and back. I came back, I still had like 26% battery left, so I went zipping around town just to see when will I finally drain the battery. Absolutely brilliant scooter, but I would use it for journeys 20 to maximum 25 kilometers. For longer journeys, I'm actually using Navi S65C because it has a suspension, but it's a bit bigger scooter, a little bit heavier. So it's just for, like, you know, longer journeys, like if I go, for example, I don't know, from Phibsborough to Sandyford or something like that, because I can easily go there and back on a single charge. So that's my other option. Then next option, 9watt Max G30. That's gonna be a similar price to S65C, or maybe a bit cheaper. You can find them second hand. They support fast charging. They don't have a suspension, but they support fast charging, and that's the brilliant thing about Ninebot Max G30. I'm actually working now on getting one myself. I actually have a scooter, I just need to sort out the battery and then plan to use it for one interesting adventure if it manages to happen at any time soon. But those scooters are built like tank, no problem with them. Just check a tire pressure, and if you're not running on the flat tires, you're not gonna melt your motor phase wires, or if you're not going up too steep hills that scooter is not designed for. And then last solution, and the best solution, honestly, for a really long range is going to be InMotion S1. This is S1F. S1F is the faster version that goes like 40 kilometers per hour. S1 is going to be in a legal limit 25 or 30 kilometers per hour. You can in app restrict it to 20 kilometers per hour, but at those 25 or 30 kilometers per hour, I used it when I was living in Leixlip, and I would get from Leixlip to Dublin and back to Leixlip with mine. I had around 95, 96 kilos then, and it did that job no problem at all. So even if you restrict the speed to 20 kilometers per hour, you're gonna do a really long range, like 50 plus, probably maybe 60, 70 kilometers on a single charge. So in this situation, that's probably going to be for extremely long distances, definitely best option. But as I said, any of the Navis or Ninebot Max G30 are also going to be a good option. Same as Xiaomi. Just Xiaomi is not going to have such a good water resistance like Navis, Ninebot Max G30 or InMotion S1. There is also Ninebot Max G2, and I would usually include it in this list because it's a newer version of Ninebot Max that actually has a suspension. But there is a problem with the front suspension. There is a bit of a play in the front suspension, so for that reason, unfortunately, I can't recommend it. It's not that all of those scooters are going to be actually road legal because they don't have two brakes, they don't have a plate and everything. But in this situation, those are kind of best options, and luckily, to be honest, luckily guards are not going to be chasing you for every single thing in Ireland. So yeah, that's going to be all. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, feel free to hit that thumbs. Any comments, of course, leave them in the comments down below regarding this topic. Any questions or any video recommendations as well. If you think it's going to be useful, this video, to someone, feel free to share it. And if you still didn't subscribe, maybe consider subscribing. Till next time, guys, please stay safe out there and respect other road users. Bye bye.